So, a lot's being made about whatever the direction is for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I've done several, dozens of videos on the route I think it's going, with theory crafting and all that kind of stuff. And I was of a mind for a while that we were doing cyclical time loops, just time repeating itself over and over. And there's a precedent for that in the games. I don't read every piece of media that comes out because I'm a busy guy, right? I don't necessarily have time to read every book. It's the positive and negative life stream, Ray. It was written in novel X, don't you remember? No, I don't remember, because by the time that was translated, I was too busy to sit down and read every piece of material that came out. I make time for all the Final Fantasy VII games that come out, and that's about all the time I got, So I do depend on the community to kind of fill me in on what's written in the books, because I just don't have time to read all of them. But anyway, that aside, I know there's precedent for positive negative live stream and what they're doing and all that kind of stuff. I've been filled in well, don't worry. I have been lectured to death by every Naruto Uzumaki and Sephiroth profile pic on the internet. So I appreciate the 7th Hokage and the Child of Genova in all their various internet forums relaying to me the message of what happens in those books. But anyway, so for a while I was of a mind that we were getting cyclical time loops spoken of kind of aboard the Shera and Dirge of Cerberus briefly. But now, I think it's just a reimagining of the story. I do, based on the PR speak that has come out from Square Enix. They do get marching orders, even though their PR speak is not always great. It's not always great. Sometimes it's almost like it was written by a Latin philosopher, translated into Japanese for them, and then translated back into English for someone else. It's like there's something lost in the translation here. That being said, I do think it's just a reimagining. But the whatever's happening with Zack in the Rebirth game is very divisive, and you all know where I stand on that. For a long time I've been telling you all, look, you make a contract with the person reading your story. If you're going to do a cliffhanger, you got to do a cliffhanger right, and it has to pay off in the next part of the story, or just don't do a cliffhanger. You wrap up that part of the story and more story is coming. It's not necessarily a cliffhanger, it's just that end of the section of the story, right? What was the Super Mario Brothers cliffhanger where the old movie, where the princess comes through the door in Brooklyn, she's like, you're not going to believe this. That's a cliffhanger. They wrapped up their story and then ended it with a cliffhanger, and that movie was not good, so it did not get a sequel. But then I keep using the reference of the Lord of the Rings, right? They finish each section of the story. The Fellowship of the Ring, it finishes a section of the story. They send Boromir off. Everybody's on their own way. You can kind of consider it a cliffhanger, but it's not really, because one part of the journey ends and another begins. And actually, that's a line from Gandalf right from the movies, But this didn't feel... It felt like that from Cloud and them's perspective. If they had ended it with Cloud and them leaving Midgar after that battle with Sephiroth, it would have been one story, one part of your journey is over, another begins. And it's not necessarily a cliffhanger. I wouldn't consider that a cliffhanger. But what they did with Zack, just hitting you with that there at the end. What? Is it over? He survives this attack, and it starts playing the overworld theme, and it's just it's beautiful, and he's carrying Cloud to Midgar and everything. They showed you him surviving. He needs to have survived. And if that means it creates another world, whether Aerith is responsible for that fissure, or Sephiroth is responsible for it, or the planet's responsible for it, whatever the case is. And originally I was thinking, hey, it's butterfly effect. They're going to come out of the singularity, and this whole world's going to be changed. Stamp bag, terrier bag, beagle bag, all that bullshit that we went back and forth on for a year that people got sick and tired of talking about. I got sick and tired of talking about. I'll tell you that right now. I can't wait to just see. Tell me what it is. Show me what it is. You know, just show me what it is. I am done talking about it. Show me what it is. And I think a lot of you all are in the same boat. So the director, the writers, everybody made a contract with you, the viewer, the end game user. Zack's going to survive. How are we going to write ourselves out of this? Tune in and check it out. We're going to blow your mind. Okay, bet. Look, show me. Show me how you're going to write yourself out of this. I'm excited to see that. If he's dead and in the live stream, I'm sorry, that's bullshit. That I'm going to call bullshit on that. I will, because I was excited to see how they write that. If he joins up with them when the worlds merge, you know, and because we are going to get back to one world. But if they're in the live stream, that is whack. That's going to be whack, because I give Square Enix more credit as far as story. And this is not someone who's like, you know, oh, it wasn't his idea. No, I've said from the beginning, I don't want to be right about my ideas, because it means I guessed it. It means they didn't do a good job taking me on a ride. Take me on a ride. We did the theories and all that kind of stuff because I knew you all wanted it, and I wanted to throw some ideas out there. But never at any point did I want to be right. Now, when I am right, it's exciting. It's like pulling a winning lottery ticket. It's like, whoa, I was right, cool. But I don't necessarily want to be right. Cyclical time loops, all that kind of stuff. I really feel like we're just getting a reimagining of the story. So that stuff is already moot. I'm already wrong, is what I'm saying. Those other theories are already wrong, probably. If they wind up being right, I'll be like, yeah, that was right. But those are probably already wrong. And I'm conceding that. That's fine. There's nothing to concede. It's not a competition. We're not all in a prize for gold, silver, and bronze for best guesser. You know what I mean? Unless, you know, you do have people out there that they already know. So that's not guessing. That's just slipping intel, you know. But there are a number of things that are wrong with, from a narrative and a writing standpoint, with Zack just being dead in the live stream. But the one I'm focusing on is, you know, the trust between the viewer and, you know, the consumer. And you can't mess that up. Square Enix, for one thing, they have not put out banger after banger. I know there's a lot of people that they will defend Square Enix like zealots, you know. But they have not put out a ton of bangers lately. Even 16, that was supposed to be just a can't miss banger, was okay. That game was okay. 14, I've watched all the cutscenes and stuff like that because I'm never gonna play it. I've watched, like, the story's pretty good, but it's not can't miss. You know what I mean? There are some weak characters in that story that some people love, and they're kind of written kind of you know. The last can't miss banger this company put out was 10, Final Fantasy 10, but my favorite, most recent, was 12. Now I understand it's not a can't miss banger, I know that, but I personally love 12. See, you can differentiate the two. There are a lot of things wrong with 12, but I love it. It speaks to me. My love of Record of Lodoss War and Star Wars and things like that. Though 12 directly pulled from Star Wars, Record of Lodoss War, Lord of the Rings, things like that. So I loved that game. I loved it. But with the Zack situation, look, he needs to be alive, and I hope he is. But he needs to die. They even put out marketing, and it was something about he's escaped his fate for now. They put out marketing saying, and this does exist. I've seen a lot of you say it doesn't. It does exist, saying that, you know, he survived his fate for now. You know, whether he's temporarily alive and when things fuse back together, he's going to disappear. He's going to get snapped out of existence like Thanos. And I also am of the mindset that Square Enix doesn't need to MCU this thing either. The MCU is mid. Like, I'd say 60% of everything leading up to Endgame was pretty good. Endgame was a spot fest. It was like high spot, high spot, high spot. Crowd cheering moment, crowd cheering moment, crowd cheering moment. You know, but as far as like a really cohesive story, there were holes. There were a lot of holes, you know. So don't MCU this thing. Don't use that as your model. Use the Lord of the Rings. Don't use the MCU, right? I like what you're doing, like copying Lord of the Rings things. And even Matrix things. A lot of Matrix things you're copying. MCU, you need to copy as little of that as possible. As little as possible. You know what I mean? So however you feel on that, irrelevant. Ray Coffman Media, that's the name on the channel. That's the opinion you're getting right now. So that's why you're here. Zack needs to be alive. No live stream, no negative, positive live stream, all that kind of stuff. And they already showed a shot in the trailer. And these videos are non-spoilers, so I'm not going to get into it for you. But there was a shot in the trailer with a certain white mage that kind of told me, he was like, oh man, they're going with the live stream thing. Oh no, don't do it. Don't do it. You know, but if they do it, hey, look, I'm going to call it out. I got to be honest. You all know how I roll. We're going to rock that way. So anyway, again, my hazmat suit is hanging over here. Post your comments below. Let me know what you thought about that video, about that idea. You know, like I said, I'll put on the hazmat suit. We'll mask up. We'll go through the decontamination chamber. We'll do the whole thing. Your boy also has thick skin. Can't hurt me. Everything. Put whatever you want in there. I don't care. Let it out. So it's like there was back in Woodstock or wherever it was in '99. Like, I forget who it was on stage, and they were just like on stage, and there was trash being hurled at them. You know, I'm that guy. You go right ahead. You throw that trash. It's fine. If you agree with me, spot on. You know good storytelling. Anyway, you all have a great day. Be safe. Be good to each other. Keep rocking, and I will see you all in the very next video. Take care.